Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely wild mix of source materials. We are going to jump from complex quantum fluid dynamics and theoretical mathematics straight into a deeply personal manifesto about a domestic dispute. Our goal here? To uncover the hidden signals buried deep within the noise. Let's get right into it.
Look at this quote we pulled straight from the AI chat logs in our sources. Signal is not a thing, it is an event. Right off the bat, this sets the philosophical stage for everything we're talking about today. We aren't hunting for static facts or isolated data points, we are looking for collisions. We are looking for those precise, volatile moments when messy data interact to create sudden, undeniable meaning.
So, here is our roadmap for the day. 1. The liquid universe model. 2. Ancient patterns, modern code. 3. The butcher's sink. 4. Contextual noise resonance. And finally, number 5, the human variable.
All right, part 1, the liquid universe model.
Okay, so looking at the math here, this is the actual baseline of the highly unique framework we're exploring. It's plotting the observable universe against a theoretical boundary. And the really fascinating part, it anchors on the golden ratio, roughly 2.618. It's essentially using this ancient, naturally occurring proportion as the absolute mathematical glue for the entire cosmos.
And the math spits out this incredibly striking equilibrium. It predicts a universe that is basically dominated by about 88% dark matter, which leaves an observable range of just under 12%. This exact ratio is what pushes us right into what the text called the dynamic liquid framework. It's essentially saying the universe isn't some empty, rigid box. It's actually a thick, flowing entity.
Now, this framework maps out 24 distinct fluid dynamic variables. So instead of just your standard static rules of gravity, we're talking about dynamic liquid interactions. Take viscous drag, for instance. You can actually think of it as the thickness or the resistance of the vacuum of space itself, or phase shift resonance, which is where energies vibrate and align perfectly to spark completely new states. It's describing reality as this ever-changing flame, constantly pushing, pulling, and culling itself depending on mass and velocity.
Moving on to Section 2, Ancient Patterns, Modern Code.
I absolutely love this comparison because it perfectly captures a historical continuity in how we handle energy. On the left, you've got carved Egyptian hieroglyphs capturing and storing symbolic patterns. And then on the right, the coiled cross-section of a modern battery, storing physical pressure. It's exactly the same thing. Humanity has always had this hardwired drive to contain, read, and interpret energy across time. Honestly, we've just swapped out stone tablets for industrial copper.
And you see that exact same drive pop up in a proposed app concept from the sources called Cosmic Calc. It's an app meant to crunch those massive universal equations we just looked at. But get this, it deliberately uses this clunky, deeply nostalgic 2004 Casio calculator aesthetic. It pairs that retro green wireframe look with highly advanced AI integration. So it's basically taking incredibly complex physics math and hiding it behind minimalist, disappearing buttons. It's pretty brilliant, right?
Which brings us to Section 3, the butcher's sink.
So how on earth do we make sense of all these overlapping cosmic variables? Well, the sources give us this really brilliant metaphor, the butcher's sink. Think about the difference between lean beef and Wagyu steak. With lean beef, you aggressively trim the fat away. You treat it as waste, total noise. But with a premium Wagyu steak, that exact same fat is marbled throughout, and it becomes the essential, most valuable part of the cut. The biological material literally hasn't changed at all, only the observer's context has. Value is entirely contextual.
And if we map a butcher's intuitive, hands-on knowledge onto formal systems theory, it lines up perfectly. When a butcher notices a weird smell mixed with a slight color change, what they might call noise singing loud, data scientists actually call that emergent signal amplification. It's all about finding deep, contextual value in messy, unfiltered data that most people would honestly just throw in the trash.
That takes us right into Section 4, Contextual Noise Resonance. Building directly off that Wagyu analogy, we hit the core theoretical framework tying everything together today, contextual noise resonance. This is a total paradigm shift. It argues that noise, the static, the anomalies, the just plain weird data points, should never be automatically tossed out. Meaning actually emerges when multiple weak signals, which individually look like complete garbage, interact and resonate to create a highly significant event. To actually find this resonance in the wild, the theory lays out a four-step architecture. First up, raw capture, literally just grabbing every single piece of unfiltered data without any prejudice. Then, noise tagging, where you classify the different flavors of chaos. After that is cluster testing, and this is where you just slam those noise types together to see how they interact. Finally, that generates a pressure map, which shows you exactly where brand new, invisible patterns are forming right out of the chaos.
If you take away just one golden rule from all this mathematical modeling, let it be this: never, ever discard noise until you've thoroughly tested its context. Seriously, that one stray, incredibly annoying piece of data you're dying to delete, that might be the exact variable you need to trigger a massive emergent signal.
Now for our final section, number 5, the human variable.
To really put this complex physics theory to the test, the author applies it to pretty much the most chaotic, nonlinear system imaginable: human relationships. Specifically, a domestic dispute over naming a baby. Sourced from a deeply personal manifesto titled The Paternal Claim, we can literally map out a real-world timeline of relational pressures here. You've got past trauma from losing a child at age 18, colliding head-on with the daily exhaustion of a 12-hour workday, which is then amplified by days of communication silence. All of this is building immense systemic pressure around the 18-year future legacy of an unborn child.
Now, if we step back and view this intensely personal dispute totally neutrally, just using our physics framework, we see these competing variables clashing in real time. On one side, the father's biological drive for legacy and his desire to provide acts as a major systemic pressure. But then, on the flip side, the mother's need for psychological autonomy, her loyalty to her family name, and her past trauma act as massive counterpressures. The model absolutely doesn't care who is right or wrong here, you know? It only sees these interacting variables in a highly pressurized liquid environment.
And this conflict really takes all that abstract math we talked about earlier and makes it completely human. Take observer bias, for instance. That's where subjective emotional interpretation skews reality. We see that here in how a specific name heavily triggers past trauma for the mother. Meanwhile, you've got ego entropy, which is the chaotic breakdown of the system due to pride and emotional reactivity driving the father's response. It just absolutely proves that human interactions, with all their messy emotional noise, are the ultimate test for complex systems and pressure mapping.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Take a look at the messy, chaotic data in your own life right now. Maybe it's a roadblock in a creative project, a weird glitch in your workflow, or just some friction in your personal relationships. Ask yourself, are you trimming away the fat just because you assume it's total waste? Or could that exact noise be the hidden signal you've been searching for the whole time? Thanks for exploring this with me.